Well, let me give you some good news. Donald Trump, of course, has been elected US president. He hasn't even taken office yet, and already he's influencing world affairs. News over the weekend that Qatar has reportedly given the leaders of Hamas their marching orders. But this is what I wanted to ask you. Qatar is booting out Hamas. But meanwhile, in Australia, the Anthony Albanese government is still funding UNRWA, some employees of whom were members of Hamas, others participated in October 7. It seems like Qatar have got greater moral clarity than the Albanese government and Penny Wong.
Well, I don't want to praise Qatar too much. I mean, they had Hamas there for a long time, and the main purpose of keeping Hamas there, with the Americans allowing them to keep Hamas there, has been very much because they thought that would be a good staging post to try and get Hamas to release the hostages. That clearly hasn't happened, and so the Qataris have taken their action. But Qatar is not a good actor on the world stage more broadly. But in this country, I mean, the lack of moral clarity that we've constantly seen from the government. I was outraged sitting in the Parliament this week when the second last question was the government boasting about the funding that they're giving to UNRWA. UNRWA is an organisation that has blood on its hands, that was involved in the October 7 terrorist attacks, and indeed the UNRWA headquarters in Gaza were the major communications facility for Hamas. And we've got our government, the government that we pay taxes to, the government in our name, giving this organisation money. I cannot believe that this is Australia today, and this is the reason why we so need a change of government at the coming election, to restore a government that actually reflects Australian values on the world stage.
Yeah, and to your point earlier, it's about leadership, isn't it? So, you know, it's just, it's extraordinary that we are still providing funding to this organisation. I've got to ask you, though, Julian, just on that, with Donald Trump's victory, he has previously said many times that the war wouldn't have happened under his watch. Are you feeling any optimism that he could actually help come to some sort of a resolution in the Middle East?
Well, I mean, let's remember the signature policy of the Trump years in his first presidency was the Abraham Accords, which have had a transformative have been transformative across the Middle East, particularly with the UAE, Bahrain and Morocco having a very different relationship with Israel to its neighbours. And that's the key reason why Hamas actually launched these attacks on the 7th of October, because the Iranians and their proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah, didn't want that to keep going. Now, this week I've been meeting with a senior UAE strategic official, Ahmed Tahour, who was here, and he was talking about the very different relationship they have in the UAE with Israel, where they have very tough laws banning anti-Semitic activity there. And he was reminding Australians that there's a very different narrative from the narrative we see on our streets, from the socialist left and from the Islamists about Israel and its relationship with its Arab neighbours. The UAE is living proof, and I've been to the UAE since the Abraham Accords. There is a real friendship there between Emiratis and Israelis. They are living proof that Jews and Arabs can get on and live peacefully and live as friends. But you've got to degrade the influence of Iran here, and in my view, nothing will change until there is regime change in Tehran.
Yeah. Julian Leeser, we appreciate your time with us tonight.
Thanks very much.